Welcome back to Gene and Roger Talk Movies. It's Gene. I'm Roger.
Roger.
We're talking.
He's always been Roger.
Yeah, you know, that's how
Every
it
day
rolls.
it's Roger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking about In the Tall Grass today. It's a Netflix
Netflix.
movie.
It's easily accessible. Yes.
Maybe a little too easy. But, Gene, where are you at with this one?
Yeah, I watched this with my 14-year-old, and, he liked it, and, I'm just going to get right to the point. Yeah, I liked it. It's all right. It's okay. I mean, is it going to scare your pants off? No, but is it entertaining 90 minutes? Yeah, why not? Yeah, it works. It's good. Roger hates it. I can tell, but I've seen a lot worse.
Agreed.
and in the whole spectrum of movie dumb, yeah, I mean, it doesn't suck. Yeah, is it going to win any awards? I'm not sure.
No.
But is it terrible? No. There are some interesting ideas dealing with time travel. Time moves around in different places.
Time loops.
So time loops. Yes, we've seen these movies before,
Yes.
and so but I like it. It's okay.
So the general premise, right, is
There's a little bit of a redemption story kind of thing. A little self-sacrifice.
You're right, but there's also a tremendous flaw with the redemption story, which we'll get into. But the general premise here is
it's not that flawed.
It is. This
it's not
this
flawed.
Couple. They're
you think that they're husband and wife, but they're actually
it's
brother and sister.
Brother and sister. They're going to, I don't even remember where they were going.
Becky Avery, San Diego.
Yeah.
To their parents.
Well, she was going to set up an adoption with some
family. She was pregnant
there.
and she was going to give away with her baby.
Yeah.
And so forget the parents, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, they're going there and then they stop for, she gets morning sickness and so she's got to throw up, which is a great scene. But they stop in front of this old, looks like a church.
Abandoned church. And then parking lots filled with cars.
Yep, this tall grass, and then they hear this child's voice out in the tall grass calling for help. It's
like a 13-year-old, 12-year-old. No, you maybe younger, 10-year-old kid.
Yeah. And so anyway,
Tobin.
They wander into the tall grass, and then they soon discover that weird stuff is happening in this grass, and they can't get out. So that's basically the idea.
Right, that's basically the idea, in a way, of the whole movie. And there's this large stone in the middle of the grass field. We don't know its origin. It seems to have some type of powers, and
it does,
and which really are pretty undefined. But it powers certainly the whole grass field and its whole looping of time. And the whole idea is to trap people in the tall grass. And so, but as to this movie, I think it's one of those movies it's good to talk about because it leaves a lot of open questions. But it turns out that...
what are those open questions, Gene?
It's like, what's really happening?
I mean, my open question was, why was this made? But what is the open question here?
Yeah, it's entertainment. Is it good 90 minutes of entertainment? Yeah, that's why it was made. And plus also... there's a Stephen King connection here, and
which is why it was made.
Stephen King and Joe Hill, which is actually his son, they produced the novella, and then actually this book or the novella first appeared in Esquire magazine. It was June, July, and it was in two parts in June and July of I think 2012. And so it was made into this movie, which I think came out just this year. So,
no, it's I think 2019.
2019. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's actually Stephen King worked with his son Joe Hill on another novel, short story called Throttle, and they have put together a collection of their short stories into a book title called, of course, Full Throttle, which I guess is available now. But it just brings back just thinking about Stephen King, and I haven't read a lot of Stephen King books. I mean, I for this prep of this, I wrote them down actually. So, for me, I've only read 4 Stephen King novels. It's Cujo, Different Seasons, which is a collection of short stories, which is quite remarkable because The Body, which led to Stand By Me, and then also the Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption, which led to the movie Shawshank Redemption. So, those 2 movies, I think, are universally acclaimed as being pretty darn good. And then I've read The Stand and Pet Cemetery, which has led to numerous movies. And so I think Stephen King movies as a whole, it's really a mixed grab there. Some of them are darn good, like the two I just mentioned. But then some of them are just, what are you thinking? So they're just really terrible.
A really good.
And so, just to finish my thought, so this movie falls kind of in the spectrum, kind of in the middle. I mean, you got Shawshank Redemption, Stand Up By Me over here, which, I mean, best pictures of all time. And then you have, I don't know, Maximum Overdrive over here. so it's like just terrible.
Well, he directed that.
And it's kind of, this movie's kind of in the middle. So
okay,
I would give it a recommendation.
A really interesting Stephen King book to read, which is not talked about very much, is called Danse Macabre, which is a nonfiction book about the history of horror through Stephen King's eyes. It's a pretty good book.
Okay, all right.
But this movie, I'm not.
That's a big sigh.
I'm not on board with this movie. It is your standard time loop kind of movie. There is this redemption arc for every character except one. The brother. The brother.
Oh, the brother ends up in the same. He doesn't change at all.
No.
Yeah, the brother, who is really his name's Avery. He's really a pretty despicable character, and so at first you like him, but as you get to know him more, you pretty much hate this guy, and so he ends up not suffering any consequence.
No,
and he comes through it unscathed, which is in a way. But ultimately, he has his own motivations, but he is helping his sister Avery to kind of get out of her predicament, which is really started because she was abandoned by her husband, Travis.
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend. And so, but he abandoned her, but his redemption story is that he follows them. And he ends up, like we tell everything in our review. But he ends up sacrificing himself towards the latter part of the movie to allow Avery, Becky, and the boy we mentioned earlier, Tobin, to escape. And so they escape the tall grass, really through his sacrifice.
Right. So why isn't there a redemption arc for the brother? Because the whole point of the grass appeared to ultimately be a way of redemption, right? Because you're in this time loop. They continually make mistakes, which gets them killed. So there's some pretty cool scenes where, here's the same guy's body indefinitely because they've been just looping and looping and looping, where it's almost like trying to get you to make the right choice finally to get out of the corn or the grass. And everybody does that except for the brother.
Can't explain it.
Okay, it's just unexplained. Right?
But he, in a way, he didn't really have to go through like a trial. He was like a follower because he followed Avery. And then actually Tobin was the leader, the little boy for a large part of the movie. He was leading them. And so then the Travis, the boyfriend, he comes along and he gets involved in this big battle with this guy named Ross, who was actually Tobin's dad. and this guy Ross ends up, I guess if you touch the rock that's in the center of it, then it corrupts you. So, it
corrupts your faith for sure, because that character was talking about, remember he was talking about how he used to be like the church guitarist or whatever and all this, so he was really surrounded with the Christian faith, and then he touches that thing and it's a whole different faith now going on.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So we have differing opinions on this one. I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's, I guess it's one of these movies where, it's like 98 minutes long. It's not going to ruin your whole day if you watch it.
No.
But there's a lot better
watch it with some friends. You can talk about it.
Maybe you can talk about it. It's really just a straight to Netflix thing where, let's just churn out another movie real quick, and here it is. The cinematography, they're really focused on eyes, which is kind of neat because there is a sequence later where the evil guy kind of gets his eyes stabbed and all this stuff, and he does the throwaway line about how you really don't need your eyes to see, which is kind of a faith-based thing there. So that was kind of cool.
Avery stabs him with a pair of scissors in his eyeball.
The only really graphically violent scene is when he crushes his wife's head, which just came out of nowhere.
Yes. He crushes his wife's head.
Because basically all the grass is almost like a Venus flytrap where it needs this blood to live. And there's a sequence where the ground caves in at one point, and there's all these souls,
bodies,
that it's captured and all this stuff. And there's lines like, we're all just grass and all this stuff.
I know. It tries to go deeper. I mean, if you allow it to go deeper, you can probably take it there. But, this movie can take it and as far as you want it to go.
And there's a couple interesting scenes in here, too, where the boyfriend does show up.
Travis.
He picks up, he realizes, which is a weird scene, but there's some justification for it. He sees their car sitting there. The car is now covered with dirt and has obviously been there a long time. She had dropped a copy of Jane Eyre, which is kind of her story. Anyway, if you know the story, Jane Eyre. And so he's like, well, clearly she must have wandered into this tall grass. And so he's wandering around there to try to find her. But when he does find her, well, first he finds her corpse, but then he finds her alive because of time loop, right?
It loops.
But she assumes that she's just been in there for, I just walked in here.
It was an interesting part, yes, but because it seems like they've just been in there, a few hours.
And he's like,
or even just overnight.
You
but
guys
no,
have been
they've been
missing
there
for 2
months. Yeah, right.
So it's, just kind of the intersecting timelines as well, because then it flashes back to Tobin and his family before they go in.
Right.
And actually the boyfriend's church in there. And all
the church across the street, kind of like a lot of movies we see, and it's like a parking lot. So it's probably a lot of cars that have stopped and gone in, and the people have gone into the tall grass.
Well, and they had like
reasons.
a 57 Chevy sitting there and stuff, so it's been going on for a long time.
And there are like some petroglyphs carved onto the rock, which seem to be a native in origin, and so you just wondered how old this thing is, like how long it's been around.
Yeah. And so
it's interesting ideas. So Roger's entirely dismissive. I'm not so dismissive.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it's, have I seen this kind of stuff way too many times, but done way, way better? Yeah. Do I like kind of the time loop stuff? Yeah, that's fine. This is not a movie that I'm ever going to watch again and pretty much have forgotten about it as soon as this podcast is over.
It's not that terrible.
And want to move
really
on.
not.
It's real average, right? There's no high points. There's no down here. It's just, it's a TV movie that I just watched, right? It's no big deal. You might like it, you might not. You'll know within 15 minutes if you're gonna be jiving with this movie.
Yeah. Cool.
So
Gene,
I think let's move on to something way better.
Again, it's not terrible. It's Roger's really critical.
If Stephen King's name was not attached to this, I don't think it's made into a movie, is basically it.
It's hard to say. There are a lot of movies out there.
Right.
A lot of movies, like I said, the spectrum, Stephen King's name has been attached to a lot of movies which are just garbage. Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
well, maybe garbage or maybe they're awesome.
No, they're garbage. Am I right? The movie Maximum Overdrive, the one where the machines come alive. Mm-hmm. It's like, are you kidding me?
No, he directed that. And I still remember sitting in the theater watching the preview to that, where it was Stephen King trying to pull an Alfred Hitchcock, where he's just looking straight at the camera, going, "I'm going to scare the hell out of you." And so, of course, you go watch the movie, right? And no, there's a couple good things in it, though, but it's just a piece of crap.
I didn't even make it to that. I really tried that movie. It's like I watched maybe a quarter, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm out of here.
Hey, you had your AC/DC soundtrack and everything else. So and Stephen King, of course, has since basically said, look, that was the high point of my cocaine addiction. So,
he said that?
Yeah. He's like, there it is. You can see it on the screen.
Yeah, you can see it on the screen. It made no sense at all. Of course, to him, he's thinking he's making a masterpiece. Right. Another Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was
no, it didn't turn out that way.
No, not on any level. But Gene, we need to move into something a little more extreme for Halloween here. We got to do something better.
Yeah. What's give me some titles.
So, I just saw this bizarre movie called Daddy's Head, which is on Shudder, which is completely berserk. There's also In a Violent Nature, which is basically, what do all these crazy Jason figures do when they're not actively killing people, which is kind of hilarious.
Why don't we see that movie that's in the movie theaters right now?
It's hard for me right now to get to the theater, but we can try it. we wanted to do Terrifier 3, which is at the theater.
Yeah, let's do
The Substance, of course, is at the theater. I just don't know if I'm going to have time to go see those things.
Come on, it's just 2 hours out of your time. Let's just commit Substance, Yeah.
You can try to. He's trying to bully me now.
You can do it.
Maybe. We'll see. But something will definitely happen next week.
And something that's in the theaters now. It could be Terrifier 3.
Something is happening next week. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, go ahead and watch a movie. It's okay.